Welcome to The Grounded Leader, Ayurvedic wellness for leaders who want to succeed from a place of balance. A podcast where ancient practices meet ambitious goals to help you operate with strength, clarity, and grounded intention. I'm your host, Shweta Vikram, an Ayurvedic doctor, trauma informed yoga teacher, award winning author, mindfulness coach, corporate wellness speaker, adjunct professor, and a lifelong student of what it really means to lead with clarity, purpose, and peace. Each week, we'll explore holistic wellness, how to excel in authentic leadership, and live with balance and purpose. Let's dive in. Welcome back to The Grounded Leader, the podcast for leaders, entrepreneurs, and high achievers who want to succeed without sacrificing their well being. On today's episode, From Health Crisis to Healing Work, the power of aromatherapy. I'm getting goosebumps. We talk about what happens when your body forces you to pause, when your health begins to unravel, and the life you've built no longer feels sustainable. And the reason why I'm getting goosebumps is one of my favorite aromatherapy educators. She's many, many things, but educator is joining us today, Jennifer Presimon. Did I say that right?
Perfect.
She is a clinical aromatherapist, educator, and founder of GenSense and Aromaversity. Known as the Aromatherapy Intuitive, Jennifer has spent over 2 decades helping people reconnect with their emotional and psychological well being through the power of scent. But her work didn't begin in a classroom or a lab, it began in crisis. In her late 20s, Jennifer faced a life threatening health condition marked by failing organs, deep exhaustion, and emotional overwhelm. What followed was a profound healing journey, one that not only restored her health, but revealed her life's purpose. Didn't I tell you I was getting goosebumps? There's a reason. So, welcome to the show, Jennifer. I am so glad you are on The Grounded Leader today because the wisdom, your personality, your generosity, and your the incredible educator skills that you have, that you exude even on social media, I know a lot of people are going to benefit from this.
Lisa, thank you so much for having me. I love the work that you do, and I think we both have deep roots in healing the person, but helping people tap into their light. So I'm just honored and blessed to be here with you today and with everybody.
Well, thank you. So let's just start off. Let's just dive deep in. Um, you've had a remarkable journey into the world of holistic healing. Can you share? I know in the intro I talked about it a little bit. Can you share the story of the health scare that you experienced in your late 20s? And what were you doing before that? And how did that change everything? I know there are like so many questions, but I've really been wanting to know that because for those of you, this is an audio podcast. I am looking at Jennifer because we record in video and she glows. She has beautiful skin. She has this incredible aura. So when I'm reading, and knock on wood, right? But when I'm reading the bio and when you're listening to this episode, like, how is this woman doing it? So this is my question, but also I'm sure everyone in the audience would love to know.
Yeah. So in my former life, I was a banker and then an insurance underwriter. I was a surety underwriter, writing bonds for contractors and subcontractors in the construction world. And it was very paper intensive, time intensive. And I got really sick. I wasn't eating right. I had high stress, and I ended up with a urinary infection. And the doctor, of course, it was around Christmas time. The doctor gave me medications, and I ended up with basically antibiotic poisoning, pseudomembranous colitis, which is, a more deadly form of colitis. And
Wow.
and that is how everything began, just having so much stress, taking some medications that reacted within me, and that triggered colitis. It also activated and triggered Crohn's disease. And I did the medical route for a while. I did all of the tests that they told me they gave me so many diagnoses over a 2 year period. I think I ended up with like 27 different diagnoses because they didn't know, why are you so sick? What did this do to your body? Everybody was so baffled. But then they came to me and said, well, we've done everything we possibly can do. There's no other medications, there's no other treatments. You're in organ failure. You've got 6 months to live. You should consider bringing in hospice at this time.
Oh my God.
And the devastation in my mom's eyes, I was so sick, I don't think I understood. And I thinking back, I'm remembering like, oh, the doctor said I'm gonna die. I guess I'm gonna die. I never thought, oh, wait, maybe I could live. I was just so weak and I didn't know. And thank goodness for outside forces that step in when we get in such a deprivation state. And so, I talked to my family, and we were planning for an open casket funeral, and my sister said there's a local herb shop, maybe you can go there and see how she can help you for whatever time we have left. And walk into the shop and meet this lady who is still one of my best friends today, 25 years later. But she was learning about aromatherapy and she was an herbalist, and so she helped me start with like probiotics and get some things to start calming the gut issues and the mindset and emotional and depression that was going on. And she introduced me to aromatherapy. She invited me, hey, I'm just learning aromatherapy. I'm having a tea and chat. Why don't you come? And she made me an aromatherapy blend with Roman chamomile and some apricot oil. And she said, coincidentally, I just learned that
Wow.
Roman chamomile is antispasmodic, which can help IBS cramps. It can help the gut trauma that's going on with you. Why don't you try it? So I had the roll on. I slept with it underneath my pillow, and I couldn't wait till the next morning when I woke up because it was typical every morning. If for those of you who have IBS and Crohn's and any gut issues, you wake up first thing in the morning with gut issues and the cramping. I took that roll on out from underneath my pillow, rolled it on my stomach, and I couldn't believe like the cramping like subsided quickly.
So,
It
right, I'm
stopped.
sorry to interrupt you. So the you applied and it subsided right away, the cramping?
Yes, within minutes, the
Wow.
intensity lessened. So,
Right.
like on a scale of 1 to 10, my cramps were usually about 100. They were just debilitating, and I would just get so violently ill and pass out because the pain was so intense. That took probably on a scale of 1 to 10, if I was at a 10, it took me down to a 5 within minutes. And so much so that I couldn't wait to get cramps the next day or anytime throughout the day to try it again and say, did it really work? Or this is a fluke. I've never heard of aromatherapy before. I thought if I ate a salad at McDonald's, once a week, I was doing something good for my body. I had no idea. And so it kept working time and time again. The woman at the herb shop, the herbalist, she kept working with me and helping me, introducing me to some herbs and to some other people who
So
could
tell me,
help.
this is happening when the doctor said, okay, your time has come, and you're talking about open casket funeral with your mom and your sister, who's not an aromatherapy specialist, she just knows of this herb store in the neighborhood, mentions that to you. And even in that state of mind, you were open, like the desperation, right? Of just anything but this. Is it fair to say that that was one of the feelings that you were navigating?
Well, yes, but if I'm going to tell that story, I need to tell the full story
Yes,
of
please.
what we were talking about. Is I was down to 70 pounds and I looked horrible, and I did not want that to be the last memory people had of me.
Mm.
So I kept saying, what if I tried some bodybuilding herbs? Because I was violently reacting to food. If I ate food, I would violently have vomiting and diarrhea and just get the shakes and pass out. It was just a horrible reaction to any kind of food. And so I just had to keep going to the hospital and getting IV fluids, just to stay afloat. And so I went to the herb shop really with the initial goal of finding out what are some bodybuilding herbs that would plump me up so I would look a little bit healthier. The
Mm.
first day I walked into the herb shop and I hear the lady talking, to other people. I waited till everybody left and I said, "Hi, I just got diagnosed here. The doctor says they can't do anything else. This is what I'm looking for." And she looked at me and says, "Well, how are you pooping? How are your bowels?" And I said, I was mortified. Nobody had ever asked me that before, nor had I ever talked about that. I ran out and I went home and I told my now husband, I said, "Can you believe she asked me that?" And then I tell my sister, and they both were like, "I'm sure there was a reason. Did you answer her? And what did she say?" And I said, "No, I ran out." "Okay, well, you need to go back and ask." So I
Mm.
went back a few days later and I waited till there was nobody in the store.
Of
And I
course.
went in and I asked her, "Why did you ask me that?" And she says, "Because that tells me everything that's going on with you. It gives me a starting point and an entry point of where we need to start working together." And so we had a talk about poop, and she was able to put together some things that started helping me. In 3 months' time, I was out of my wheelchair. I was walking again. I could take myself to the bathroom. 6 months came and went, and was still living. I didn't feel like I was dying anytime soon.
Wow.
And so I just kept up, with the herbal program, with some lifestyle changes, with the aromatherapy as a huge proponent to help my mindset, to help my emotions, to help calm
Mm.
the cramping and the pain I was going through. And then 25 years later, I'm still here.
Thank God for that. And thank you for sharing that story, Jennifer, because the Ayurvedic practitioner in me is like, yeah, I get it. When I talk to my clients, in Ayurveda, we talk about it's not just what you eat, but what you digest that matters most. So, when I love to bring in humor when I'm doing my coaching sessions, and I always tell my clients, oh, we're going to be best friends because I'll know exactly how much you poop, when you poop, what does it look like, if there's smell, does it flow, does it sink to the bottom? And it's like what you said, it's awkward at first for them, but when you ease them into conversation and when you tell them, right away in many things, obviously there is the detailed work that as an aromatherapy specialist you work on or as an Ayurvedic doctor, but that's a great starting point at what is your body not digesting? What is the poop like? And it's the education bit, right? Like even in Ayurveda, we talk about like how are you so okay with paying attention, hopefully attention, because a lot of people inhale their food, what you put inside your body, but you're like, it's gross when I talk about what comes out of your body. It's still you. Right. And I
Mhm.
love that you shared with aromatherapy, which I imagine not a lot of people would know this, that it's not just work, it's not just oils you smell and I feel good. Oh, my home feels good. It's the mind bit, not just the body bit. And I'm guessing it also works with regulating the nervous system, right? So if your mind and your body are calmer, your gut is calmer, your nervous system is calmer. So it's like working on all of you, right? The wholesome healing. Wow.
Absolutely. And, I think a lot of people hear like whole body healing or mind body healing, and that's really what it's about. And that's what I had to do, having an underwriting background, having a banking background. And I mean, I
Mm.
did, claims and fraud. And so I had an investigative mind. And so I was very fortunate. I have a degree in psychology, I have science training. I have research training. So I took those investigative skills to say, all right, let me wait a second. Okay, my body is broken. Let me figure out why it's broken. Because if I understand the why, then I know how to fix it. And you're right. It's one thing to put something in the mouth or even to drink water or eat food, but it's another to absorb it, utilize the nutrients, and then have the capability to eliminate any of the trash or any of the waste, because it goes twofold. So when we talk about mind body, it's not just the physical aspects, but it also tells us how well are you digesting your emotions? Are
Hmm.
your emotions ruling you? Because behind every health challenge, especially IBS and Crohn's that I was going through, anything going on in the gut tells me, okay, you're over worrying about things. There's a lot of fear going on. There's a lot of stress, and you're not digesting a situation, and you keep swallowing all of this tension and all of the stress, but you're not releasing it.
Mm,
And once I realized, oh, okay, I understand this about my body. Now the remedies step forward, the right remedies. Because so many people say, oh, I've tried all these things, but did you try the right thing? Did you understand what's broken, why it's broken, and
mm,
then pair the right remedies to that intersection? Or are you just doing it because you read an article about it or somebody said do something? You have to look at everything together. And aromatherapy is so powerful to work on those emotions and
mm,
the energy, keeping those emotions in this unhealthy state that's causing or triggering the physical discomforts. And that's, now you can see I'm getting so excited because this is the work. And I'm a holistic health practitioner, but I love the clinical aromatherapy mind, being able to bring in the science with the psychology, with the intuitive guidance to
mm.
be able to say, oh, okay, let me understand the whole person. Let's understand all the things. And now we can put together the right plan that will get you results. Because if somebody didn't do that for me, I wouldn't be here. And I think of all the people that I sat in waiting rooms with or that I saw in the doctor's office that aren't here today, but I am. And so I feel I've been saved to pay this forward and to be that hope and to be that light of like, oh no, I've been in your shoes. Let me show you a plan. Let me show you the map to get out of distress and into, this healthy, thriving state.
Ah, this really struck a chord with me because I have a similar story for another day. And we didn't think I would make it. But then I'm here today and really grateful. And there was a time my Western medicine practitioner asked me, can you write a book about what you did? And that was very validating, right? And so coming back to you and aromatherapy, it feels like even aromatherapy is addressing the root cause, right? In Ayurveda, that's what we do. We don't work with signs and symptoms. Like you said, the emotions. And Dr. Gabor Mate, he talks a lot about repressed emotions. When I was in the ER, one of the ER nurses was, 80% of women, they fall sick, it's because of repressed emotions. And it stayed with me. And a lot of us might think, oh, but I expressed myself. No, it's what you talked about. Yes, I ate, but did my body absorb it? How did my gut handle it? How was my mind responding to it? So just because you consumed, just because you spoke up, was it the right emotion? Sometimes even intense anger can make you sick, or not saying anything can make you sick. So this is for the educator in you, Jennifer. I know for a lot of people, they think aromatherapy just means pleasant smells. That's a very limited definition. If you were to meet a new person who was curious and they're not really familiar with aromatherapy or they just know limited usage of a more aromatherapy, what exactly is aromatherapy? How would you explain it to them? Because I want our audience to really listen and to your explanation, and maybe this will help them broaden their horizon, outside of pleasant smells.
And I think it's a great place to start the conversation of yes, aromatherapy can be pretty smells. Most people think of candles or perfume, which, by the way, are synthetic, which might be a topic for another day.
Right.
But part of my journey is realizing with the gut issues I had, I also had multiple chemical sensitivity,
Mm,
meaning I couldn't be around any synthetic scents or fragrances. And what I love about aromatherapy and how I explain it to people is it's really plant therapy. We are taking the soul essence, the personality, the life or the blood out of the plant, and we're having it in a liquid form that has a scent, because your sense of smell is the most powerful sense
mm,
that you have. A lot of people don't realize it, but it's your only sense that doesn't get processed through your analytical brain. It doesn't get processed by you thinking and analyzing everything. It has a VIP access to go right in and tap into exactly the emotions and the memories driving things before you can even overthink it. And so your aromatherapy is smelling pure essential oils and you're taking in a scent, and that scent is going in through your nose. It's connecting with your brain, it's connecting with some other structures that can help shift you from a state of fear into having some courage. It can shift you from a state of anxiety and panic into relaxation and calm. And so a lot of people think in the most popular essential oil or scent is lavender. And usually people say, "Oh, I like lavender. It helps calm me down at nighttime." Most people are smelling a synthetic lavender. They're not even smelling a real lavender. So when I start doing scent therapy sessions and I have them smell lavender, they're like, "What is that? That's different."
Ah,
And when you use pure essential oils, because quality does matter, it has to be pure, cannot be synthetic because it does a different processing on your lymphatic system and how you digest things. But when you smell a scent, it activates something within you and it will tell you, it helps bring those buried and hidden emotions. It helps them step forward. And you mentioned, in the ER, you learned that, a lot of things are happening with repressed emotions and people think that they're expressing it. Most people are expressing the way they think people want to see them. It's not authentic. It's
mhm.
not real. It's not at the core. It's not the true expression because that's hidden. It's buried. So when you smell a scent, and we do holistic aromatherapy practices using essential oils as a scent therapy, we're tapping into things within your body. We're tapping into emotions. And don't worry, yes, some of them may make you cry, but it's not going to be as painful as you think. And once these step forward, now you have an opportunity to release them. And then you feel amazing. You feel so amazing after a scent comes in and says, "Hey, I know you. I see you. I understand you. You can't stay here. I love you so much. I'm going to make you take one step. I only want you to move 1%. We don't have to have 100% healing today, but 1%. So let's take one step and let's move forward." So it's connecting with all those things causing you paralysis, analysis paralysis, or action paralysis from doing the things you would normally do if nobody was watching, if there was no consequences, if there was no judgment, and you could be anything you want. It's going to help you tap into that true, authentic self. And so, using the oils to help you physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, it's going to nurture and nourish your body systems for immune system, for respiratory, for gut health, for whole body health. That way you can start the healing process because healing starts in the mind. You have to activate the mind, and
Right.
aromatherapy is the number one thing to do it.
Oh, I absolutely love this. And so for people who want to work with you, do you also offer virtual, like online consultations, or does it have to be in person?
Yeah, most of my consultations nowadays are virtually. And so
Exciting.
I do some in person, but I have, I wear two hats. One is I help people who want to work on themselves and want to add in that layer of emotional healing using the aromatherapy and the scent mat method that I've created using the essential oils. And we do that virtually. And you don't necessarily have to smell the oil. We just work with the energy of the oils.
Okay.
If I do in person and we do live scent testing, it's really important for people to know even if you cannot smell and you smell a pure essential oil, it will still work. So that's a huge part of what I do. And then the second hat is I teach people how to do what I do, how to use aromatherapy and implement it into their practices and implement it into what they're doing to help themselves, but also to help other people get this level of results. Because if you don't work on this layer, you're not going to get those sustaining results.
That's fair. And I'm like when listening to you, I'm realizing a lot of your work focuses on very heavily on psychological well-being, right? And our main audience for the Grounded Leader podcast is the high achievers, is the leaders, is the busy professional, the entrepreneurs. And what do we see in common all across? Chronic stress, burnout, digestive issues, sleep issues. And, so would you say, are there aromatic rituals maybe or scents that can help regulate the nervous system? Is there something specific? And again, I would encourage people to book a consult with Jennifer. We will not do this to an entrepreneur, like, can you share everything for free? Not at all. But is there one scent or essential oil that comes to mind that you've seen in your experience, in these last 25 years, that's been very helpful for either focus or anxiety or burnout, like with this audience particularly, if there's one scent that comes to mind?
So that's a tough question, because I am a firm believer because I mean, I've worked with thousands of clients just like you, and everybody's different. Everybody brings different layers, different structures, different ailments and conditions and responses to conditions and ailments. And so I'm a firm believer of personalization. And so if I'm forced to say what one scent
Right.
would be for this, it would be which one do you like right now?
Oh, wow.
So personalization is so key because you have to look at the whole person. Now, of course, we all have, the same anatomy and physiology and processes work and organs and body systems work the way that they do pretty much for everybody. And so if we look at, okay, there's three main systems that activate your entire body. No matter what's going on, you always have to work on these three things. That's the mind, the gut, right?
Hmm.
The brain, the
Right.
gut, and the nervous system that connects that. And so when we're talking about why do we get off kilter, it's because, like you said, the nervous system is off balance. So, sure, there are certain essential oils that have been historically shown, but also scientifically proven to be a sympathetic and parasympathetic balancer, like yuzu, petitgrain, right, are adaptogens. All essential oils are adaptogens. They're going to help your body adapt, but some are going to help you adapt better than others, right? They're going to help do this from a different degree. So there's certain oils that are going to be great adaptogens to help you do that. Now, when we look at focus, there's going to be certain ones where you want oils that are more stimulating, like a rosemary, a lemon. We have a lot of science proven because it's that whole trust but verify. I have a very scientific brain, but I also have the psychological intuitive brain. And
Right.
so I love where they meet.
Okay.
And so I'm always there's just things that I know. And we just know from intuitive guidance, but then it's always nice to have that backed up. And so for focus, we want those stimulating. For anxiety, we want things that balance out spasming in the body. So you want to
Mhm.
do antispasmodics like Roman chamomile, bergamot, marjoram. Those are great essential oils to add in. Now, again, we need personalization, but you can still bring in oils as a baseline
Mm.
and see how you do with that. For somebody who, is very emotional and they're emotionally unstable, or, we get burnout and we have these highs and the lows because as a high achiever, right, it's
Right.
kind of like a high functioning depression. You're depressed, you're burned out, you're rooted in grief or guilt, you're doing all the things, but you're hiding it because you know how to perform, right? You can go into autopilot, but things beneath the surface are not right. So we need balancing oils like your flowers, like geranium and lavender and helichrysum, or some beautiful oils to help you with that. And then for that burnout, we want to bring in maybe some adrenal supporting oils like sweet orange and blue tansy. Those are some of my favorite.
Mm.
So we want to, take an inventory. What's going on physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically? We want to look at where are you emotionally? Because what a lot of people do is they see a recipe, a DIY recipe. Oh, I need that. And they do it in that proportion. And then they wonder, why didn't it work for me? Or, oh my God, that made me feel weird. It's because you didn't assess your hypersensitivity level. I
Right.
know, losing my mom last year and being in deep
So
grief, and
sorry.
grief is a roller coaster, as you know. And when I'm at the top of that roller coaster, I need a very light blend. I need something that's not going to keep me in a hypersensitive state. But when I kind of, the peaks and the valleys, when I'm down in the valley and I'm a little bit more stable, I can do a stronger formula. And that's why, having that clinical training and having, the knowledge behind, not just following all the like this one recipe, but knowing the why behind it and who are you as a person and matching those up. Personalization is where truly the key is to getting the results that you're looking for. You can bring in, the oils that you think are going to work or that have the backing to what your purpose is, but you still need to personalize it, and you need to personalize the potency of the blend to the person that you're working with.
Ah, this is music to my ears, Jennifer. The reason I say this is because I'm learning so much about aromatherapy from you, and I'm realizing the approach, they're different sciences, Ayurveda and aromatherapy, but the approach is very similar. We go to the root cause, we're looking at mind, body, consciousness, energetics, however we want to call it, but also customization. There people have been like, oh, I popped ashwagandha because it was available at this health food store and it's great for stress. I was like, you're still speaking really fast. So it's not really helping your anxiety. And ashwagandha is not for everyone. It's good for certain doshas in Ayurveda, but for certain people, it can have, there are a lot of contraindications. So please don't self-medicate and please don't self-regulate how you make these potions. It's worth the investment. I am fond of, I really love, and you and I, educators, we love people learning, but just get to the right source. It scares me when people follow some recipe or take an online quiz because you'll end up hurting yourself. And for those listening in, do know that Jennifer is an educator. Her content on LinkedIn, if you don't, please follow her. Yes, it's educational, but it's also relatable because you break it down into who is this for? Why the sweet orange? Why the geranium? It's not like just use geranium because it smells. You said, even for someone who is new at this, what scent is speaking to you right now? And I was thinking while you were talking, what scent is speaking to me right now? I'd never thought of it that way. Also know that she's created Gensense and Aromaversity. All of this information will be in the show notes. But just one question for you, Jennifer. Firstly, thank you for sharing your wisdom, your story. It's so inspiring. And the power of aromatherapy. I learned so much from you today. I've known about it in bits and pieces, but like the way you share it, and I love that how Ayurveda and aromatherapy sound like BFFs.
They really are.
So, since we're talking about leaders and high achievers, people navigating chronic stress, burnout, your story, my story, the work that we do, we came from that space ourselves, right? So, for leaders who want to create healthier work environments, um, what would you recommend to them? Like, how could aromatherapy be thoughtfully incorporated into their daily routines and workplaces? Yes, obviously, book a consult because DIY might be great, but not always helpful and healing. That's my personal opinion. People can feel differently. But yeah, so how could they work with you or even approach it?
A great place to start is if you have a pure essential oil. It's not adulterated, it's not a synthetic fragrance. If you have an oil, grab one. One of my favorite ways to use oils is I like will hold a bunch in my hand or I'll pull all the ones that I have and I blindly just grab one.
Hmm.
And I intuitively just chose the one that I needed. And then you're going to smell it. And so you can take, if you have one oil, so the one I actually just grabbed because I'm doing this in real time is bergamot.
Oh,
Bergamot is a great pick me up. And I think of all the oils like people. They all have different personalities, they have different personality traits and characteristics. And bergamot is a great pick me up. It's great to calm anxiety. And so you can add one drop to a cotton round and just smell it. You can keep it in your purse. You can add it to a tissue and keep it in your office drawer, keep it around
ooh,
you. If you have a diffuser, you can add a couple drops to your diffuser. If you need a non-electric diffuser, I like the little cotton rounds, or you can get like a pine cone and drizzle a couple drops on that and have it like sitting nice in decor, on your desk. So inhalation has been proven to be the best way to use your oils, even over topical applications. So
oh,
smell your
wow.
oil. Do not touch the rim if you're smelling from your essential oil bottle. You do not want the rim to touch your skin. You don't want to be dumping it in your hand. You just want to be smelling it. But I'm going to encourage you, close your eyes when you smell it, like sniff it with your eyes open, then close your eyes
Hmm.
and feel what thoughts and emotions step forward. Because when you do that, you're allowing these layers. This oil is triggering the emotions and memories that are stepping forward, that's telling you, hey, I'm coming forward right now because I'm the one who needs to be released next. So you can start your healing journey. Most people ignore it. Or
Wow.
if they smell an oil and they don't like it, they start having this resistance wall or defense. What that's telling me is, ooh, that struck a chord. We still need to make note of that and come back to that, but we still need to honor what steps forward because your body's amazing. It's so resilient. It tells you everything you need to know. You just need to listen and allow it to talk to you and it'll tell you exactly what you need to work on right now. So if you're like, why did my cat just come in my mind and then it made me sad? Okay, now we can explore that a little bit more. It might be the cat itself, or it might be the significance that maybe your mom gave you the cat and
Hmm.
mom has passed, and there's emotional residue lingering in the background that needs clearing. And then the oil that you smelled is actually the oil that can help you clear that. So, a great place to start without, I mean, I know that went a little deep, but just smell an oil, feel what it feels like to be smelling that oil, the thoughts, the emotions, the memories, the people that step forward. Use it in a diffuser, and that's a great place to start. If you are using oils and you're more advanced, then maybe you have three oils, one for focus, one to give you energy, and one to calm your nerves. And you use them when you need them to regulate yourself throughout the day.
That is so generous of you, Jennifer. After our interview, I'm going to do that. Close my eyes, pull out like my drawer. There's this bottles of scents, and do exactly what you said. See which one speaks to me, what it does. Inhale, close my eyes. So if this episode resonated with you, take a moment to pause, as Jennifer recommends, and notice what your body is asking for today. Healing doesn't always begin with something big. We talked about it. Sometimes it begins with a single breath, a shift in awareness, or even a scent that brings you back to yourself. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow The Grounded Leader on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and share this episode with someone who could use a little more calm, clarity, and support right now. Until next time, remember, you don't have to push harder to lead better. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is come back to center. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you, Sweta.